So many charities are at arm's length, and when you're struggling and people are going through hard times, they often won't reach out for help. You've got to reach in, and you're more likely to find that in a mate, and you're more likely to realise that your mate's changing before anyone else does. So as a connector and as an assist worker in every role I've had with them, because if you can help a friend and you can notice their changes before it's too late, well, you've done something wonderful by keeping someone on the planet. When you're in a very labour-intensive job, where it's not a very mentally taxing job, you get a lot of time to backbrain, a lot of time to think, and you get a lot of time to dwell on bad decisions that you might have made. And you get home, your kids want to play with you, and you don't want to know about them. Your wife wants to talk to you, you don't want to know about her either. And you can see why it destroys marriages. We all go through life so busy now that we forget to stop and just smell the roses. And if you can just take that bit of time out to actually ask someone how they are and wait for the response and care about the response and give them your actual time and care if something's not right. And look, if someone's smoking 20 cigarettes and they're like this and they tell you they're fine, well, they're not. Take the time to find out what it is. Take the time to make that extra question happen and go, are you okay? Are you stressed? So that stuff matters. Incredible. It's incredibly rewarding being able to help people and know that you've kept someone on the planet even if it's just for one more day. Having been there myself, you feel very removed, and it's almost like there's this real fuzzy feeling about life and you can't see a pathway forward. So, it's that you see that emotional disconnect, and it's a very clear sign that someone's going through stuff. There's other signs you have to look for, which are smaller, but they're not always clear. So you just got to be brave enough to go up and ask. That's one thing that mates really push for, is go and talk to them. Take that extra step, make that extra question happen. Say, are you okay? For me, it was at the same time, the loss of life was an awakening, because I was going through the same stuff myself. I was in a very bad situation mentally and financially at the time. And I was clinging on, really clinging on by a fine thread. And to have that happen in front of me was an awakening, because I realised how many other guys were doing it worse than me. And that's what brought me back. Is that 10 minutes later, I was speaking to a whole ton of workers about suicide prevention and how this can happen so fast, how the events of life can hit you time and time again, like fighting Tyson. And you don't feel like you've got any hits left and you just fall down. And it's not that anyone ever wants to die. You just can't see the reason to live. And so you lose hope. My birthday was an interesting morning. I got up early that morning because it had been a year or so when I'd been stuck on the site, and my life had gone from the top of the world to the bottom of the planet in sort of one hit. And I couldn't see a way out of there, and it took me to a very dark place. And I sat on the edge of the bed that morning looking at my kids while they slept, and I was trying to figure out if there was going to be a way for me to come home that night. That's where I was at. And I hadn't quite made that decision yet, whether I was going to make it back or not. I didn't know whether I would that particular day. I went into work late, only about half an hour late, and as I walked down onto the site and I got all my protective gear on, one of my colleagues and a good mate walked past me. And 5 minutes later was lying next to me, having taken his own life. It was an incredibly devastating day for not just me, but for every other worker around that place. And there was a lot of guys witnessed this. And so when the police came after I finished interviewing and speaking with the police, all the workers got corralled up into this large holding area. And they were left there while the heads of the company were trying to drag in counsellors and workers and psychiatrists, psychologists, anyone that could help, because it was such a devastating thing that had happened. I'd called mates in construction. As soon as it happened, I called mates and I said, you guys are going to have to get on site now. We've had an incident. It's a bad one. I can't tell you the full details, but we're going to need guys on site. And they were there within a flash. And then when I looked at all these guys sitting there, just staring at nothing with absolutely no idea how to deal with this, I got up and I decided I just needed to say something. I've been through a lot of suicides in my life, a lot. And it was an important moment. I just stood up and I said, okay, guys, this is how it happens. This is how quickly it can happen. This is how fast you can descend into this abyss of darkness where you can't find a way out. And, they didn't realize where I was personally myself. I was so close, it was amazing. And so I told them this and I said, if anybody else is feeling the same way, come and see me and I'll take you to help myself. And when I finished, 6 guys stayed behind and said they were thinking of taking their lives. And that was a real awakening moment to me that I had another purpose again, to go from where I was in the film industry to becoming almost nothing, just a labourer on a site. And the company treated me well, but I saw what was out there. I saw how people were treated and I saw how bad it was, and I realised what needed to be done. And so I made it my quest, to move forward and to help change people's lives. And that's what we did. So it was a huge moment for me in bringing me back from the edge personally, but also in helping other people. And You know, and I feel on that day we lost one life, but we actually saved 7. We saved those 6 fellas and myself. So it was a devastating and awakening day, all in the one, and in some ways probably one of the most amazing birthdays I've ever had for so many different reasons, because it gave me back life, you know, and I just wished I'd known more about it in time to save my friend, you know, but it was just one of those unfortunate things that happened. And we try and move forward from here and try and teach and help and educate people, so we're not afraid to say how we feel. And so we've got help around us, and we feel we're in a safe environment where we can speak. So that was what happened to me.